Well, welcome everyone to Entrepreneur Factory. Our podcast today, we've got a special guest on, and I'm so glad to have Jess Wilson with me today. I think you've been on before, haven't you? I don't remember if you have or not. But anyway, I love talking to Jess. In fact, we spent almost a half hour talking before we started to record, and it's catching up. So Jess has done a lot of things in her life, and I'm so glad that you're here to hear what Jess has to say today. So we're going to get right into talking about Jess, and she's got some good stories and messages that'll help you with your business. And so, Jess, would you take a few minutes and introduce yourself?
Well, thank you, Boyd. I don't think I've been on your podcast with you, but we've done some other stuff together.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me and allowing me to be in this space with you today. Hello, all. My name is Jess, and if you don't know me, I'm a professional photographer of 24 years who's using my love for what I do in those years of experience to offer personal branding and family portraits done remotely. Yes, you heard that right. It's remotely. I like to tease and say that I'm the photographer in your back pocket that you didn't know you needed. In addition to that part, I'm also a mom, a grandma, a wildland firefighter wife, a thyroid cancer survivor. I like to tease and say I'm a Libra without the indecision, and I'm super stoked to be here with you today.
Well, that's awesome. Okay. And today you're going to be talking to us a little bit about content, figuring out your content, but then also how to use that, what you've just decided, how to find the right pictures and things. So tell us more about this. What do you call it?
Yes, thank you, Boyd. So I offer something that I call it my content bucket coaching. Now, some people call them content pillars. I call them content buckets because I'm a visual person, and to me, buckets makes more sense because you're putting stuff in the buckets. When you figure out your content buckets, it helps with not being overwhelmed. It helps you fine-tune your messaging, being intentional and focusing on what it is you're doing when you're showing up on social media. As the photographer side of me, I'm always telling people, make sure you're taking all of the pictures. You can go around your daily, doing your chores, working, running your errands, whatever it might be. And you can be snapping pictures and taking little video clips of things that are already in your bubble, right, in your space. And you can use those to batch create content that will fit into your buckets. So keeping it super easy, the buckets I like to refer people to is inspiration, education, and then about you, your brand, your service, your product. And once you know what those umbrella buckets are, it makes it super easy for you to be able to write down topics that you can share, inspire, and educate people with. And that is what helps fine-tune your messaging. So then you put that into your bucket list as you're taking your pictures and doing your video clips. It all comes together into this pretty little package and just makes it to where you're being intentional with your time and your energy. I don't know about you, Boyd, but I don't want to be stuck on my phone 24/7, having to be able to monitor and do everything all the time. Nope. And I don't have the time to, at the last minute do a scramble. Oh my gosh, I need to post today. So I love talking about content buckets, fine-tuning that. When I help people with that, we go through all of that. And then as they come up with those lists of topics for each one of their buckets, I help them take a look around of what they already have in their existing space that we can take pictures of to go with each one of those topics, kind of thing. For those that wanted to take it a step further and help them with hashtag research. And then we do, I use an auto scheduler for some of my content on my social media. I use Planoly. So I'll go through them on how to fine tune and adjust and set a calendar for themselves that they can show up consistently with and all the things. So I don't know how deep dive you want me to go in on all of that, but that's basic synopsis.
Well, good. Okay. So, I'm sure you've heard this one too, is I get a lot of people who say, Boyd, I've written 15, 20 posts, and what do I write about next? I don't know what to write about. And the buckets is a great one. Content buckets is a wonderful one. In fact, we had a person on a few weeks ago, and we talked a little bit about content. She does a program called the Content Cure. And but that's the thing is just finding out what you want to do. But one thing that you've just mentioned is, you come up with a bucket,
Mhm.
but assign that bucket to a day of the week, right?
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about. So go ahead and tell them a little bit more about calendaring on that bucket.
Okay. Well, depending on now the inspiration education about me, my brand, my service products, that's just an example I use to keep it easy, right? But if we were to do those buckets, that's 3 buckets. And I always say you want to have a come to Jesus talk with yourself, because we all wear so many hats. We're running errands, we're keeping the house clean, taking care of the family, running our business, all of the things. And so you have to have a really solid, serious come to Jesus talk with yourself about what kind of schedule that you can keep and maintain consistently, big picture, for your social media. Your social media, guys, I hate to break it to you, but it's about being social. You can't just ghost and post and expect things to happen, right? You want to get on there and engage. You want to participate actively, kind of thing. So when I say the schedule that you can maintain consistently and long term, that's what I mean. 6 months from now, that schedule might have changed, but as long as you're still doing it consistently, that's okay. The big thing is that if you post every Saturday at 5 p.m., that's the only time you post on your social media. Those diehard people that are following you in your community, we'll use Instagram as an example, because as I was saying earlier, Clubhouse and Instagram are my jam. So you have your people that are following you on Instagram. That's your existing community. They follow you because they love you. They love your product, your service, your sense of humor. Maybe they think you have pretty eyes. I don't know. We'll see. But they're following you for a reason. So if you were posting once a week and you were only posting Saturdays at 5 p.m., that's your community, that you're training them to expect that from you. So 5 p.m. Saturday, they're expecting to see something from you. Now, depending on what it is that you're offering and what you're sharing about, because again, whichever bucket it is that you're pulling from, you want to make sure that you're giving value, that you're making people laugh, that you're teaching them about something, that you're letting them know about something awesome that you're doing. You want to keep it still valuable content. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be value driven. And you can make it to where when they think of that thing that they need, the more often that you are showing up consistently for them, the more that you're going to be at the top of mind. I did a Clubhouse room. I wish I had saved my notes on it, but I pulled a bunch of stats on how when you have like an image with your post, it makes people remember you for like 3 days longer than they would if you just had like maybe say a color block with text over it, kind of thing. Like you had an actual image, different things. So assigning it to a day, I probably just scrolled there a little bit. Sorry, Boyd.
You're fine. You're fine.
So assigning it to a day just makes it to where, again, you're not getting overwhelmed. You're not struggling to figure out what to post, when to post. Hey, I have content bucket number 1 going out on Monday. Bucket number 2 goes out on Wednesday. Bucket number 3 goes out on Friday. And if you want to post more than 3 times a week, by all means, you totally can. If you want to post more than 1 time a day, you totally can. Keep in mind, the more you post, the more you get seen, because the more content that you're putting out there. But the key to that is that you want it to be something that you can maintain long term and that you can show up consistently for. Does that?
Good. That does. So I teach a lot of people about doing calendaring, because it makes it easy. You look and you say, oh, this is what I need to be doing on Monday. So next week when I'm doing it, I'm looking for a picture that can go along with that. And that's kind of the next step to it, isn't it? It's finding the right picture.
It is because you can. So I use Planoly. I am cancer free from my thyroid cancer journey. I am sitting at cancer free, but I still have days when I just can barely get out of bed. So I am all about Planoly. It's an auto scheduler that is a like family group part, whatever you want to call it, with Facebook and Instagram. So it's one of the few auto schedulers that I found in my years of using it where I don't get a lot of issues. I used Buffer before, and every once in a while you'd go out of town for the weekend and come back and be like, oh, none of my stuff posted this weekend. I've not had that problem with Planoly. So it's integrated into part of their system. So I use Planoly, and I have set days for each of my buckets. And let me back up a little bit. When I said take the pictures and do the video clips so that you can batch create, I'm an avid fan of batch creating. If you have video clips, if you have your own custom pictures that you're using, there is a time and a place for stock images, but the photographer part of me is like, please don't say you're using stock images. There's a better way. Just stab me in the heart now. But you could be taking your own pictures. And so you have your pictures, you have your video clips, you have your topics that you want to talk about, you have your content buckets, you know what day each content bucket goes out, bada boom, bada bing. If you have enough stuff set up and you take the time and have the patience, the first time it might take you 2 or 3 hours, but as you get used to the process that you're doing with it, you'll get faster and faster and faster at it. So I can take any given weekend, usually it'll be like Saturday night, maybe Sunday afternoon, and I will go through and I can batch create up to 30 days worth of content in probably about an hour and a half. But that's because I'm constantly saving stuff in my camera roll, and I'm solid on my buckets and my topics.
That's excellent. That's really a good thing to do. You know, one of the customers I have, I've been telling them, you got to take before and after pictures. You've got to, you know, because they do auto body work, and they're going, but you don't see the difference. I says, yes, you do. Yeah. And you see this crumpled up car, and then you see the car, and it looks like it just is ready to drive off the showroom floor. That's a big difference, you know, and, you know, so doing that kind of thing, you know, the before and after pictures, but you got to remember to do them and do them consistently. Try to make them so that they're in the same location. And there's a lot of different things. And for a photographer, they will recognize all of this. Now, I got to tell you, there's some funny photographs that I've taken over the years. So I used to be a professional photographer as well. And I was doing a wedding one time in a backyard, and they decided they were going to have the line right, you know, at the back of the yard. And as I'm starting to shoot the pictures, I suddenly realize, there's this telephone pole that goes up about 10 feet, and it's got 20 different wires coming in from all different directions. Oh. Okay, so I said, well, I don't want to take the picture with them underneath it. I don't want it coming out of somebody's head, you know, things like that. Right. Well, in the end, I said, you know what? So we moved the row a little bit so that I didn't have to worry about it. But then about halfway through the night when we had a lull, I had the couple come over, and they were right underneath it, kissing, and, you know, with this pole coming up and with all the wires going every which way. And I was talking to the mother of the bride, and this has been like 25 years ago that I did this wedding. This mother of the bride saw me in a grocery store, and she says, we still have that picture framed because it's so cool, you know. Nice. And so, but you know, having the whole line right behind it, that's not the right thing. But putting it together the right way, and I said, well, why do you like that one so much? And she says, because it shows all the opportunities of which way can you go.
That's awesome. So maybe
I didn't even think of that one.
It's different, right?
Yes, exactly. And so when you're looking for it, take the pictures. Take several pictures, because maybe one is not going to be as good as another. Maybe the light changes, the clouds overhead change, or you're moving slightly. Just make sure you get enough pictures that you can get the right one. And you, as a photographer that's, you know, current now, I'm sure you could tell them more tips and tricks. Go ahead.
Well, I'll just do a shameless plug here. As I said,
yes, go ahead, please.
I am active on Clubhouse, and as part of my pivot to the remote photography services that I offer, I have been focusing a lot on education of what all those buttons do on your smartphone to take pictures there. So if you are someone who's like, yeah, I'm not a photographer, I don't have a big camera, I just have my smartphone, or my Android. I would love for you to connect with me. I'd be happy to send you the link to the replay and you can go listen to that room. And I walk you through how you can adjust your light exposure, how you can change the different filters and things that you can do that are already on your camera to be able to take some of those pictures like what Boyd is talking about. But I agree 100% with you. Before and after pictures are key, even if it's a video clip and a couple of pictures. Heck, you could do a video clip and then you could take that video clip and get a couple of still screenshot images from it. And boom, you've got yourself quite a bit of content that you can share on different platforms, repurpose however you want to do it. But also just taking a look around what you're using every day. If you work in an office, excuse me, and there is a certain kind of printer that you use because it's fast and it's clear and it creates beautiful things that you need printed out, and the ink cartridges are affordable, you could take a picture of that. You could take a video of that printing out something and just talk about why you love that printer brand. You can tag that brand in your content and add them as a collaborator and get some of their eyes on your stuff because you're tagging them. If you use a certain brand of whiteouts, if you have a favorite ballpoint pen, if you have a favorite journal or notepad that you like to use because the paper just absorbs the ink a certain kind of way. I mean, the possibilities are endless with what you're already doing and using in your day-to-day stuff. And the nice thing about that is every single one of those products that you're using has a brand. And most of them are going to have a social media account that you can tag them in and add them as a collaborator. I use the e.l.f. makeup line. I absolutely love that makeup line, and I've used them for several years. I've tagged them in product pictures that I took of just makeup that I went and bought myself that I was like, oh, look, I have my e.l.f. makeup haul. And I took some product pictures and I tagged them and shared about why I loved the product. I want to say like the fourth time that I tagged them and stuff and added them as a collaborator, they picked it up and ran it on their stuff. So now I had my eyes of my community, but also the eyes of their community following kind of things. So again, the possibilities are endless. You just have to look for them.
That is so true. Very true. You know, and I love what you're saying about that. One of the other ones that you mentioned, you know, while you're in your office and you're taking pictures of machines, don't forget to tell about the people that work with you. You know, we love to do, I tell people, you've got to do some spotlights of the key people who are doing whatever for your business. And people say, well, gee, everybody knows them. And I said, trust me, tell about them. And, you know, tell their story. What is, you know, how many kids do they have? Grandkids? What are their hobbies? We had a guy who has a hobby of, he's a model railroad guy, and he has a basement filled with trains all over the place. Well, he's got people coming out, coming to his site now because of that. And so he puts up every once in a while something about that. But and that's on his personal site. But the business got a lot of people who said, I want to do business with you because you've got this guy who's a model railroader, and I like model railroaders because I'm one too. You know,
right.
and that goes for, it's for any kind of thing. You know, hey, you're a skier. You like snowboarding. You like going water skiing. You love jet skiing. You love to go mountain biking. You love to walk around a specific lake. Do it. Talk a little bit about it, you know, because it's part of who you are, and it will attract people to your business because you're talking about the people that they will want to know about.
Most definitely. I could not agree more wholeheartedly. In fact, a funny example story I can give you of that. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I collect old cameras. I have a vast book collection, and I also collect plants. I started with 2 plants at the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm up to about 47 now. My kids and my husband are like, we need to do a plant intervention. I'm like, I love my plants. My plants are my therapy, right? Like, I love to be able to repot them and go and trim their leaves and just take care of them. I even have a playlist on my Spotify that when I'm in the shower, I have a whole section of my bathroom that's all plants. and I will play that plant playlist because it's supposed to increase the energy vibes that they're getting so that they are so happy and stuff, right? Anyhow, this has nothing to do with my business.
Yeah.
I made a reel on Instagram about my plants with that trending audio of, oh, well, I guess that problem sorted itself out, sharing that my plants are my therapy.
Uh-huh.
And I got reach on that of over 25,000.
Yes.
It's the biggest real reach that I have ever had, and it had nothing to do with my business. But those
Right.
are 25,000 other people that like plants and might want to connect with me over our love for plants and get to know what
Right.
other stuff I do.
See, and that's what it takes and that's what social media is about, is becoming social and getting it so that people see you a little bit. I had someone tell me one time, oh, Boyd, you should never, ever do something that's really personal. Don't put on there that you like to go and do this. And I'm going, why?
Why not? I mean,
yeah.
I never understand what it is.
Well, so I was telling them,
skinny dipping in, the Salem Pond over here.
Okay,
Maybe
no,
but...
and no going down to Goblin Valley and pushing over the rocks. No. That's stupid. Don't do that anyway.
Right.
Even if anyway. But what this was we went with my grandkids behind their house. They have this tiny little hill, and we went sledding.
Right.
So we were, we had inner tubes and sleds and, saucers, and it was just, like a, 45-second video of all of us sliding down the hill. Nice. And people this guy was saying, oh, you shouldn't have done that. That's too personal. You shouldn't do that. I had hundreds and hundreds of people saying, hey, that was a lot of fun. We've been to that little hill too. And it's fun, isn't it? And I picked up a lot of followers.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing is wrong with that.
Nothing to connect with you on. And I think that's
exactly
what people get in their head a little bit. Now, I don't talk about religion or my political views or my opinion on the chaos that is going on in the world today.
Yeah.
I don't share that stuff on my social media because to me, those are my personal things. And I am a lover of everybody. I love everybody. I always look for the good in people. I don't care if you don't think or agree or believe the same way that I do. If you are a good person and you have a good heart and you are respectful to your fellow human being, that's all that I care about, right? So I don't share about that stuff. But I think that if you're, I've shared about how many other people eat more than 5 double stuffed Oreos in one sitting? Because this girl here can clear about 15 or 20 of them. I'm drinking almond milk with them, but I can do it.
Yeah.
And I think that those kinds of things are what helps people connect with us as people. Yeah. And I think that the way the world is moving with all of the crazy that is going on, we're looking for those more honest, authentic connections where we're doing business with people that we like, know, and trust. Mm-hmm. And we like, know, and trust them because they treat us as a person. They see us, they hear us, and they engage with us. And we're not just a dollar sign in their pocket that it's like one and done. Okay, I'm never talking to you again. We're good to go. So
yep,
I agree.
That is so good. That is so good. And I'm with you. Don't share those things about religion, politics, world events.
Yeah.
I have a friend who did that, and he couldn't. He's a writer, and he says my book sales dropped.
Oh yeah.
The day that I made that post, and I said, it's because of your post. And he says, well, what does anybody have to do with that? It's my opinion. And I said, you just alienated half the world population.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
Yeah. I've had people that I have followed on social media platforms for several years now. I've even maybe met them in person once or twice at networking events or whatnot. I've gone in recently and restricted and removed a couple of people because I'm like, okay, wherever I go and I'm engaging with my community, I want everyone to feel included, and I want it to be a safe space.
Right.
If I have someone that is posting on their stuff, which it's their social media and they can post whatever they want about it. But without an option for another word, if they're on there being an asshat and they're trying to be like, well, you have to listen to what my beliefs and things are, but on the flip side of that, you have to believe how I believe, or you're just not cool, kind of, that kind of vibe. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a safe place for people. So I've actually gone through and started restricting people and removing people, because I'm like, social media for me, I'm being intentional about sharing my business. I'm being intentional about being social. If I wanted to be depressed or upset or bothered about all the chaos going on in the world, I'd turn on the news.
That's right. Yeah, when you want your dose of downers, you turn on the news, and find the right channel that will give you the right dose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Jess, this has been great talking to you. Tell us, if somebody wants to get to work with you or find out more about what you're talking about, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, thank you, Boyd. It's been so much fun. There's a couple different ways. So I'm on Instagram. I am on Clubhouse. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I hang out mostly, though, on Instagram and Clubhouse. And you can find me at at symbol J Wilson Pix. It's JWILSONPIX. And then my website is www.jwilsonpix.com. And the Pix again is PIX. If they want to know what remote photography is about, if they want to hear the replay for my tips and tricks on how to up-level your cell phone camera photography stuff, they can reach out on any of those platforms, and I'd be happy to share and send them the right links and info and answer any questions that they have.
Awesome. So my last question, and I ask everyone this, is what is the golden nugget that you would love to have everybody take away from this podcast today?
Okay. Excellent question. I would say it's kind of a two for one. Okay.
Okay.
Getting solid on your messaging with your content buckets. You have to have a plan. Content buckets helps you have a plan. You can't just throw spaghetti against the wall and see if it sticks and keep doing that over and over and over. I think that's the definition of crazy. And the second one, which would be the big one, is that when you figure out your plan, be really super honest with yourself on what kind of schedule that you can maintain for the plan of strategy that you have come up with. You want to take into account vacation time, family events and activities. You want to make sure that you're taking time to give yourself self-care time so that you can step away from all of the social media and have a break and be able to just like recharge and vegetate kind of thing. So be very honest with yourself on all the hats you wear and how all that stuff fits together in establishing the kind of schedule that you want to show up for. I think that we tend to get in our heads and, you've got people on all platforms. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. You need to do this. No, you need to look at what you already have going on in your life, what you want to do, what lights you up on fire, and then how you can consistently show up and keep fueling that fire. So that would be my golden nugget.
That is awesome. Those both of them are. So thank you very much for being with us today, Jess. And thank you, everyone who's listening in. This has been Entrepreneur Factory, and we really appreciate you hanging out and doing this. And as you know, we are doing limited schedule during the summer, but we'll be back to every Monday, Wednesday, Friday as of September. But we're doing it here and there because, well, everybody's trying to vacation, aren't they? So go have some fun, will you? Go do that. Jess, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Boyd. It was a pleasure. And thank you for all your listeners for hanging out with us. I hope they got something helpful out of our discussion today.
I'll bet they did. So thank you.